Thank you all for joining us for the New Year, New You coaching series. Let me first introduce you to Rianna. After being on top of her game for many years, Rianna hit her rock bottom in 2005 and hired a coach to guide her through the journey of transformation. Through coaching, her own potential and power became clear, and she found her calling to continue to contribute to others through coaching.
Thank you so much for joining us for the New Year, New You coaching series.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So why don't you get started by telling the audience a little bit about yourself and more importantly, what leads you to coaching?
Sure. So a little bit about myself. I'm based in Hong Kong, so I'm in Asia, and I grew up here. Spent all my life in this part of the world. Although I'm well traveled, but this has been home. And I've done so many things. Like, I don't know where to start, but I've done so many things. Like, I've been, in terms of career, I've done hospitality, I've been a lawyer, I moved into having my own business, and then I even sort of got into sales. But I noticed for myself that the longest that I've ever, what I've stuck to as the longest has been coaching, which has been, I think in some way or form since 2006. So a really long time. Coaching has been something that, I don't know, it just energizes me. It's just something that, has allowed me to grow as an individual. It's allowed me to really get present to what I want out of my life. It's allowed me to be a better person for everybody around me. And it's an ongoing journey. So at the moment, I am a coach and I practice as a coach, and I've got clients, amazing people who I am able to work with.
What's the top 3 benefits you get from coaching?
Yeah, so 3 seems so little to speak about, but I definitely would say, first being getting to know myself, my authentic, my confidence self, and to make those choices. The second is a sense of power. And the third is just renewed action, like towards what I want. One is getting to know myself, like who I really am. And the reason I say that as the biggest benefit that I've got is because it's allowed me to make choices that I wasn't present to. So when I, shared with you, I did, when I was in my first university degree was in hospitality. And then I moved on to, doing 4 years of law school. And then so many other things in between. I've owned a spa, I've done so many different things. And all that experience has been great. But had I known who I am and what really brings out the joy in me, I probably would have chosen differently. So it's given me an opportunity to choose because I get to know myself better. The second thing is just being heard. I think, like, my experiences of my coaches is that they see through me and they hear me. So by feeling heard, I feel gotten, I feel power. And I would say the third would be renewed action. We all go through ups and downs in our lives, and coaching has come in really handy for me, not only in my downs, but even in my ups, because it's given me a perspective to take a different action. Without coaching, I probably would have delayed a lot of the actions that I've wanted to take.
And you touched on choices. So can you explain a little bit of how coaching enables you to make better choices? And do you have any advice for the audience what they can start to apply when they are really making their choices?
Choice comes from knowing yourself. And it's not the easiest thing because we've grown up with a lot of people telling us how we should be, what we should do, a lot of shoulds, and what society wants from us. And in the process, I mean, if you ask most people, what do you want? They'll tell you what they don't want quite easily, but they can't remember. And I use the word remember intentionally because they actually instinctively know what they want, but they're disconnected from that. So it's really about getting to know yourself so that you can see what you value. So for example, in my case, I discovered that I really value freedom. And so when I was looking in my career to change jobs or companies, the one thing that I put down for myself after discovering that I value freedom is finding a job that provides me that flexibility or offers that to me. And that was like, out of like the 8 things that I really wanted based on what I knew of myself and had discovered for myself, that was one of the key things. And with that, what I allowed myself to do was go out and present myself to companies that I knew would be able to offer me that. And those who didn't, it was easy to make that choice. If having the opportunity to know who you are could allow you to make the choices that serve you versus what your mom has said is great for you, what your career counselor has said is great for you, what they see for you as opposed to what you see for yourself, then choice it just happens.
And Rhiannon, as a corporate woman, you have worked in large corporations throughout your career, and you're a mom, and now you're a coach. And a lot of the questions that we receive from the audience is, how do you find time to do all of that?
Yeah, I definitely do have a lot of friends who are moms and who struggle with that. And I don't deny that I did that for a long time myself. And when I worked with a coach, and this is a process, it's, coaching is a journey, right? It's not necessarily that you work with a coach for 3 months and then, you've got all your answers to every life question that you have, or any career question, or anything that's your biggest dream, right? But what it's uncovered for me is that this experience of balance and being able to have everything. I won't even use the word manage or cope, because that's a strategy and it's a temporary strategy. But what I found myself, what was happening was I was saying yes to things that really didn't serve me. And perhaps saying yes to too many things and putting what other people needed as opposed to what I want first. And while I was saying yes to some things, I was saying no to other things. So as an example, the reason why my coaching journey has been that long is because I did the same thing. Like, I really am passionate about coaching. And I started and found myself not being able to kind of do that and then do my job and be a mom and do everything that, I have taken on to do. So I parked coaching for a while, and then I took it on again and I parked it. And finally I realized the reason I'm not happy, or the reason why I feel, there isn't that joy, is because I'm coping and I'm compromising. And that's because I've said yes to everything that doesn't necessarily serve me. So it helped me to look at what I'm saying yes to and what I'm saying no to from a different perspective. And to not only then just say yes to what I want, but even being very present to what is it that I want based on who I am.
So
Yeah.
you touched on from both your personal experience and also as you're going through coaching, you're working with clients. How can someone achieve both? How can someone achieve, the career goal, the wealth goal that they have set for themselves, but also have time for their families and also feel like they have work-life balance?
I think the first thing is, are you willing to be honest with yourself? And I think what I see with a lot of women, and and I'm not excluding men here, but I think women do feel that they need to prove to a lot more of the world, and they're not completely honest with themselves as to what are their dreams and what are their goals. And when they do actually have their dreams and goals, it's almost like, yeah, it can wait. So in the process, the authentic, like it's being inauthentic with yourself that creates that push and pull, or that constant feeling of I'm not fulfilled. And I would say is balance is definitely, society has sort of said balance is something that you get one day, or it's something to achieve. But if you look at balance, it's really it is not something to achieve. It's an experience that you have, and it's dynamic because life is dynamic. So you can actually, it's putting everything that is a priority for you and that's precious for you in the foreground. But how do you identify what you want in the foreground? And I think that's where the biggest challenge for most people is. It's because they're not able to identify for themselves. Because we are really, we're not reliable narrators of our own stories. Our stories, they're not objective, they're very personal, they apply to us. And so we can't sort of put what are our precious priorities in the foreground. And by doing that, working with a coach, you get to see that, wow, as long as your priorities that matter the most to you are dealt with, and that you're addressing, you're giving attention, there's action, there's aliveness there, then everything else feels balanced.
Who do you think would benefit the most working with you?
For me, I actually work with people who want to find themselves. I met up with a couple of people that I'd worked with as a coach before. One of them said to me that, Rianna, you allowed me to find myself back again. So for example, at the moment, I'm working with professionals who work at, large corporations. And while they're successful and happy with what they're doing, they find themselves, they've parked a dream somewhere. And they want life to show up differently for them. So I know that doesn't quite answer a specific group, but I just find myself, I am connection. So I connect people back to who they are and connect to that power so that they can make the choices that serve them in their life.
Thank you so much, Rianna.